The Chongtong was the name of most of the Korean gunnery used during the Joseon Dynasty. There were many different types, various improvements over the years, often including renaming. The well-known Cheonja, Hyeonja, and Hwangja were named after the first four characters of the 1,000-character classic in decreasing size, thus making them equivalent to cannons A, B, C, and D. History. Gunpowder first came to Korea in the mid-14th century, but it was not until the 1370s when Korea began its own production. Joseon had to reinvent gunpowder weapons in Korea, due to the Chinese refusing to share the technology with the Koreans. During the reign of Taejong of Joseon, improvements were made, and still more were made by Sejong the Great in the 1440s. During the mid-16th century, the classic Cheonja, Hyeonja, and Hwangja Chongtong appeared. Earlier in the century, the Bulangi, a breech-loading swivel gun, was introduced from Portugal via China. In 1596, more improvements were made, and by this time the Sungyu class of hand cannons were phased out in favor of Japanese-style muskets and arquebuses. The Koreans called these Jochong. During the 1650s, Hendrik Hamel and others were shipwrecked on Jeju-do, introducing a Dutch cannon the Koreans called the Honggi-po, and used it alongside the native Korean cannons. They were finally discontinued in the late 19th century when Joseon abolished the old-style army in favor of an army based on contemporary Western militaries. Cannons. Cheonja Chongtong, the sky or heaven type cannon, was the largest of the Chongtong. Its length was about 1.3 meters and the bore was about 13 centimeters. One of the projectiles it fired was a 30 kilograms Daejangunjun, a large rocket-shaped arrow with an iron head and fins. The Cheonja could fire one of these up to about 1.4 kilometers. Jija Chongtong, the earth cannon, was a little smaller, about 1 meter long with a bore of about 10 centimeters. It could fire a 16.5 kilograms Jangunjun, about 1 kilometer. Hyeonja Chongtong, the black type, was about 0.8 meters long with a bore of about 8 centimeters and could fire a Chadaijun that weighed about 3.5 kilograms up to about 1 to 2 kilometers. Hwangja Chongtong, the yellow, was the smallest of the cannons. It resembled the European hand cannon. Its bore was about 5 centimeters and shot a large arrow that weighed about 1.5 kilograms of 4 ordinary arrows at once, which had a range of about 730 meters. Handheld guns. Chongtong. The Chongtong had a range of about 150 meters. Sungyu Chongtong, the Victory, fired various small projectiles like balls, grape-shot arrows, etc. Other firearms used by Koreans in the 16th century